So I'm back in the chair again. And no, it's not because of any special request this time. It's because I need a breather. And why do I need that breather? It's because I've been watching Novavax since my last video 8 days ago jump another $30 per share. If you want to know why, stay tuned. Welcome back to Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. I'm Kevin, and I want to thank you for joining me for another video on Novavax. It's been a crazy 8 days since my last video, and I want to talk a little bit more of why the share prices have jumped as much as they have. But before I get started, I want to thank all my subscribers for joining me. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider joining the community because, after all, it's free, and it'll make sure you don't miss any upcoming videos. And if you like videos like this, please don't hesitate to hit that like button. It only helps me out to grow the channel, and it makes me want to make videos that you want to see. Alright, so what has happened in the last 8 days that the Novavax shares continue to rise? I mean, when I made my last video, we were around $52 a share. As of midday today, we're in the low $80. And the question is, why? And so what I want to share with you is what I believe is the biggest reason. Because after all, there really has been little to no news coming from Novavax itself. Although, as I mentioned in that previous video, there does seem to be a beef up into their media relations, so I do expect more news to be coming. What I believe the biggest reason that the share price has jumped so much has been that an analyst has come out and upgraded his target from $45 per share up to $88 per share. So what are some of those factors? One of the reasons he noted was that there had been a lot of improved resources from the company. Primarily talking about the additional funding from the Department of Defense and the CEPI grant that we have talked about in the last month more than a few times. Another reason for the upgrade by the analyst was that he was very impressed with the new additions to the Novavax team, particularly the Chief Medical Officer, which, as we talked about, had come from a much bigger biotech company. So to give you a timeline, before I made the last video, and again about total 2 weeks ago, the share price was around that $43 range. Started to go up a little bit. We made the next video when it was about $53, and that was again about 8 days ago. That was on the 17th. On the 19th, the analyst made his upgrade. The share prices have continued to sort of eke up. Early this week is when some of the major online articles started coming up with this analyst upgrade. And I think that has been done nothing else but to keep moving the stock forward. Okay, so let's go through a little timeline. About 2 weeks ago, the share price was around $43. Right around that time is when we started to hear about the contract with the Department of Defense and the 2 new acquisitions to the senior management team. About 8 days ago, when I made the last video, having seen the shares starting to respond a little bit to that news, the share price was up to about $52. So again, I made that video and posted it on the 17th of June. 2 days later, the analyst had his upgrade, and that's where he went from $45 to $88 a share. Going through the weekend, coming back to early this week, I believe some of this momentum has continued where there has been more news reporting on the major online news outlets when it comes to finance to start hearing about this upgrade. When you put that in combination with the fact that there have been spikes of the virus throughout different parts of the country, the market overall has been a little bit teetering this week. I think that those are the biggest reasons why the stock price has jumped. So where does that go from now? Well, in the short term, and again, this will be just a guess, because after all, I do not have some crystal ball knowing what the future is going to be. Really, again, I just try to tell you what I feel are the strengths of the company. I look at the facts, the news, I try to determine what's fluff and what's legit. But what I believe is when an analyst comes out with a number, more than likely that price will start hovering around that number for a while, barring any other news. And again, there really hasn't been any news since that Department of Defense contract and the addition to the management team. We're still waiting to hear more information on the vaccine, the results. I also believe that, as I've mentioned in previous videos, that there will be that ruling on NanoFlu coming up sooner than later. And the expectation is it will be approved, which will result in about $1.7 billion per year for Novavax. So I think when you look at 3 factors, being that the NanoFlu vaccine is close to approval, 2, that the analyst gave an upgrade, give somebody a number to work with, again, because these small biotechs are very difficult to pinpoint what the valuation should be. If you look at traditional types of way of trying to price the stock, it's hundreds of times more than the typical value which you would expect it to be. And then 3, you have the spiking of the cases. So that's what I think are the main reasons for the share price jumping up so much in the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to keep this video a little bit shorter and wait for some real news, and I'm going to sit back and relax, enjoy the nice weather, and again try to recover so that when that new news comes, I'll be the first to report it to you. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give me that big thumbs up. As you know, it's really important to grow the channel, and it helps me to know that these videos are important to you. After all, I don't want to spend hours making some videos and then no one watches them. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and joining our community, because after all, it's free. I hope that we can all learn together and taking little easy steps and making big improvements in our lives. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, have a great day.